How long have you been suffering as a result of your chronic ailment? A month, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, maybe even multiple decades? And if you're anything like me, you've probably spent a good portion of this time desperately researching, trying to find out what the underlying cause is of why you experience the symptoms that you do. For the majority of people out there, a particular event, illness, or substance ingested seems to be the trigger which actually causes the onset of these chronic conditions first emerging. And then what tends to happen is we have periods where we have really symptomatic times and other moments during a day where we have symptomatic relief. But I think what all of us would agree on is that our life never reverts back to how it was previously. With this in mind, one thing that I've done time and time again over the years is fixate on what I believe to be the cause behind the onset of my chronic symptoms. And what this was in my case was a triple round of IV antibiotics for a pelvic fluid collection. And I truly believed that if I understood the damage that these things caused to my body, then I could potentially undo that damage. Now, while I don't think it's a bad idea to investigate a little bit into this situation, what I think it's worth considering when it comes to recovery is the fact that that medication has now left your body. That concussion isn't reoccurring. That trauma has already come and gone, or that period of heightened stress is now over. And so what I think it's far more beneficial to concentrate on is the potential dysfunctions that remain within our body. Because what should be far more important to us isn't the version of our body that existed several years ago, but the body that we're waking up to every single day. We should be investing all of our efforts into understanding how our brain and body is functioning, and then finding ways of rehabilitating and reconditioning these potentially damaged systems so that our body is able to live more in line with how a healthy human was designed to live. And when I came to learn about this on a little bit of a deeper level, I had the realization that conditions like POTS, dysautonomia, chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, and long COVID weren't exactly things that we could fix or cure like an infection where you either have it or you don't. What they're more like is a collection of symptoms that have emerged as a result of dysfunctional neuronal pathways and patterns that were emerging within our own brain and body. And those were, and they still are to this day, my views on this situation. And this is ultimately how I was able to make such significant improvements from such a nasty case of dysautonomia that stuck with me for over 7 years. But if you did want to learn a little bit more about this and how you can get started on your own recovery journey, make sure to check out the Unbeatable Blueprint online course. Here I'm going to take you through multiple hours worth of content, and you're going to learn so much information about these neuronal pathways, and most importantly, how to correct these dysfunctions. But one of the key problems that I encounter on a regular basis from people within the community who are desperately trying their best to recover is that they're looking for answers from people online who can't possibly provide you with those correct answers and that correct guidance because they haven't assessed how your body is functioning at its most basic level. So once I understood this for myself, my first goal was to have the function of my brain and nervous system assessed. So I went off to see a chiropractic neurologist, and during his extensive examination, he uncovered a fair few red flags which helped to explain why I was experiencing the debilitating symptoms that I was. And then what he gave me was targeted neurological exercises to help to fine-tune these dysfunctions. And then to my surprise, I observed significant improvement in every single symptomatic department. It's almost as if my symptoms were grouped together and the severity of all of them just dropped off in tandem. It was a little bit like all of my symptoms were like a light dimmer, and it gradually got turned down so that they all faded away at the same rate. And I truly believe the reason as to why we were able to achieve so much success when it came to recovery was because we were dealing with the real root cause of the problem, which was certain areas in the brain experiencing hyperactivity. And once we were able to identify these and address them, it completely calmed down everything that was going on within my body. So basically, the moral of the story and the message of this video is that if you do want to see long-term significant improvements with your chronic condition, what you have to focus heavily on is understanding how your brain and body is functioning currently and then addressing these dysfunctions rather than concentrating so much on understanding and trying to work out what originally caused the onset of your symptoms.